Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, returning after a long hiatus along with my good pal, my good friend, my colleague, my cohort, my partner in crime of one, Mr. Brian E. Roach. The boys are back in town. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, there was a football game and stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, I caught you in the middle of a Red Bull. This morning, we're covering the aftermath of, well, the last week or almost week and a half. I've been on vacation, took the kid to Disney and everything like that. I've got my coffee. You're getting your wings from the energy drink. So we need this because the game pretty much, I think, put everyone to sleep. I don't know how much there is to talk about that, but we can talk about
exciting.
that. Yeah, the depth chart, what we kind of saw with a few players and some of the observations. I guess what happened first is, obviously, training camp broke to where there were people in public that were able to tweet a lot of things, about like Rico Bussey or Busey or whatever his name is. He's wearing Antonio Brown's old number, and he was going to be the next greatest thing since sliced bread, and he probably won't get very many snaps throughout the rest of the preseason. It's my guess. Maybe. We'll see. We haven't seen Kevin Dotson. J.C. Hassenauer was listed as the starting center, which obviously didn't happen last night. Trey Turner obviously signed and knew. None of these guys were on the field. We kind of all knew this. The tight ends, they're down 2. Eric Ebron, I guess, is a little dinged. Pat Freiermuth did not play as well. I really wanted to see Pat Freiermuth, by the way.
Yeah.
But and instead, we got to see more Kevin Rader, which always makes me happy. That's one of my guys. Everybody gets like, I was talking about Rico, and I'm surprised somebody didn't do the Napoleon Dynamite Uncle Rico thing or whatever yet with him. But I guess everyone gets their little camp favorites. I've been banging my drum on a few of these players for a while, but my overall impressions to begin was, hey, it's pretty cool. It's 2 teams with a lot of history, Steelers and Cowboys, and that's about where it ended with everything. Also making it difficult, just to cut in here before you give your 2 cents. How do you watch? Not only is it difficult to watch the game when you're like, okay, this game started, I don't know, like half the people that are on the field. And that's coming from you and I, I'm pretty much, I'm like a steel trap. I try to memorize numbers of uniforms and stuff, but then they cut away to guys like Drew Pearson or whatever talking in the middle of this thing. And you're like, they're not even showing the plays that are on the field or even replays, and it's really hard sometimes to gauge what did I just see or did I see what I just saw. So we'll tell you what we thought we saw.
Yeah, I mean, we say this every year, and I'll say it again because it bears repeating. It's preseason football. You can't get too up, you can't get too down about whatever it is you see because they're not really showing us everything they've got. You're not seeing first-team guys versus first-team guys for the most part. It is what it is. It was nice. Look, it was nice to see Najee Harris actually run the ball a little bit and have some success. That was nice. It was nice to see that the Matt Canada offense might look a little bit different than it looked last year. Maybe a little more creative. That was nice to see, even with secondary players, right? Wasn't really nice necessarily to see the defense getting gouged, but you just accept the fact that, other than Robert Spillane, who the hell was playing?
Well, Alex Highsmith was, and a lot of people.
That's true, and that's the highlight of the game right there. The beginning of the game, Alex Highsmith's spin move, man, that was sweet. It was nice. The kid looks like he's just picking up where he left off last year. It's great. But then, you had guys getting after it, and they did what? They held them to 3 points. So,
what was that? A punter playing kicker for the Cowboys? Yeah. And he should just stick to his day job.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, when the Fox announcer goes, a kick has been made. A kick has been made. You understand kicking. I don't think Chris Boswell has much to worry about right now.
Oh, no.
That way.
No, I mean, Sam Sloman was signed just so Boswell didn't have to play in this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main chief reason. Give him
Sean
a little bit of rest.
fears. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, overworking. It's the same thing like with Ben. People talk about, well, I guess Ben the other day threw a lot of balls. The Friday night, or whatever it was, not maybe the Friday thing, but whatever. Sirius XM was on location, and then that was if you happen to have that and have the app. About 2 hours worth of Steelers interviews. Everyone from Ben to Mike Tomlin to Kevin Colbert to Art Rooney. That was absolutely fantastic. And Pat Kerwin, Jim Miller said that Ben threw like 150 to 200 balls, and I was like, wait, are we sure about that? He usually doesn't throw that much.
That's a lot of balls.
At training camp. Yeah, he's got the odometer. So same thing with Chris Boswell. I think they overworked him a couple of years ago. He had that bad season after being a Pro Bowler, and maybe that's one of the things. He's, 30 now? So he's like maybe about a quarter of the way through his kicking career. Ben said he would play. I think they said something like he'd play until he's 60. He joked because they always ask him about Tom Brady because he's like the next oldest guy like around now. All the other old guard has fallen off, and it was kind of silly to me because leading into this game, a lot of people were thinking, oh no, injury report, Eric Ebron's not going to play. And it's like, well, Ben's not going to play. You're not going to have all of these guys play, like Juju. You're not going to see TJ Watt. That's a whole other thing now. Somebody came up with the notion he's not showing up or not doing this or that, contract dispute. Look, the Steelers will take care of him. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about that. I don't think there's going to be any hardball there or anything to be concerned with. Alex Highsmith. Let's go to some of the. I don't know. I don't know where to go with this game. I guess, you know what? Let me table Alex Highsmith. I've been telling everyone about Alex Highsmith as long as you've been listening to this. So if you just started tuning in and paying attention to football because of the preseason, go back, listen to some stuff. Alex Highsmith go buy the jersey. This guy is going to be a stud. And I was really high on Cam Sutton. And they didn't really throw Sutton's way. Garrett Gilbert didn't at all. And slice and dice on the defense. I replayed the game, Brian. I didn't even replay the defensive downs. Why? They're playing vanilla. They're saying, oh, well, they're throwing some five-man fronts. It's still really basic stuff. Other than seeing maybe Antoine Brooks line up in nickel and kind of try and come off the edge in a Mike Hilton sort of way, there wasn't anything else. There's a few things maybe to pick out of there, but other than that, yeah, Spillane played, Sutton played, Highsmith played. Those three guys are starters. Those three guys are also the starters who probably have logged the fewest snaps out of the rest of everyone, and that's the reason they're out there. The rest of the secondary wasn't out there. There's no Terrell Edmonds. There's no Minkah Fitzpatrick. No Joe Hayden. None of the guys up front. Hayward or to it. No, Watt, obviously. Alu. Just take the night off. Those guys, no Devin Bush even. And so we'll see. I don't know how much those guys will get on the field, but offensively, Steelers get the ball first, so we get to see Mason Rudolph first. I think some people came in this game. This is like Coke or Pepsi debate. I was just at the World of Coca-Cola down in Atlanta too on the way back. Very cool thing, and it made me think of like the Coke Pepsi argument. Not the New Coke argument, by the way. Not enough dedication to New Coke. I'm an '80s child. What can I say? But
that explains so much. It just explains so much.
Oh no, it's not that I like the New Coke, but you would think with everything that's retro and throwback. Hey, look, I went retro and throwback. We got the whole Hall of Fame stuff going on. I got the Cower era hat here and the Troy jersey. So a big weekend. I just come back from all this travel and all this excitement, and I get thrown right into the fire head first. So anyways, the Coke Pepsi debate is, I think people have already made their mind up if they'd like Coke or Pepsi before this game was even played. And you're really nitpicking and looking for things. And I'm guilty of doing it too. And I'm only guilty of doing it because I'm so annoyed with how many people are already like, Haskins is the backup and this and that. And it's like, he's had a cup of coffee here. I don't know that he ascends into that role immediately. I don't know that Rudolph looks as bad as what some people say he looks bad. Does he look as great as maybe some other people say? I mean, statistically, he had some things there. But, he's playing.
Just say, he had some things.
He had some things. Well, he did. At one point,
there.
he was like 6 of 8 for like 84 yards or something like that.
Yes.
It's nothing to sneeze at necessarily. And one of those was a drop by Claypool right through his hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then another one was he missed. He threw one behind James Washington, which also happened with Dwayne Haskins. So they both did it. Now, is that on? Now you start to think, is this the quarterback or is this the wide receiver? And a lot of people are like, well, Mason should do better. He's out there with the starting offense. Oh, really?
Really? I don't think he is.
We haven't seen Kevin Dotson yet at all. B.J. Finney was playing in his spot. Dan Moore we got to see, and he plowed some guys a couple of times. We got to see Green at center. We got to see Joe Haig. We got to see Coward as the right guard. I don't know. It was just kind of like for Coward, here's the spot that's left. Zach Gentry is like the third tight end. I mean, I understand that Green is going to be a starter here. I don't know that any of the other guys I just mentioned would be. Ray McLeod's in there. He had Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, and a rookie Najee Harris. Is that really all the starters? I mean, come on now. Give some credit where credit's due there at least. You got to know what you're looking at. On the defensive side, the starters were Henry Mondow, Chris Wormley, Cassius Marsh, Ulysses Gilbert, who, by the way, missed a pretty bad tackle on third down. That was disappointing. He was right there and couldn't wrap. Robert Spillane, I'm surprised nobody made mention of that. Even Gilbert tried to do this. He motioned running back out down wide toward the bottom of the screen and tried to clear out that center of the field, always trying to get the defense in a different position than what they're maybe comfortable with. Highsmith and Sutton, obviously we mentioned them. Trey Norwood, who had a nice play. Miles Killebrew logged a lot of time. James Pierre, who seemed to be getting picked on a little bit. But again, I'm trying to temper expectations knowing it's almost like he's playing, 10 yards off the ball in some cases. And then, of course, Antoine Brooks, who we're looking at possibly being the Mike Hilton nickel corner replacement.
Right.
So this game starts, and you're probably thinking, okay, what's Mason Rudolph going to do here? And they run a few plays, and there's a end-round timing play between a snap from Green to Rudolph with Claypool coming around in motion. And there's a fumble with the exchange, and there's people, this is my Coke Pepsi thing. Immediately, Rudolph sucks, terrible, bad. I don't know that was necessarily on him. I think these are some of the wrinkles. This is like the devil you know, the devil you don't. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. With Matt Canada, all this motion stuff, brand new. You just hope this doesn't happen in games that count. I'm not sure who you blame any of this on, other than they weren't in sync. That's the best I could say.
It's the game one of 5 preseason games. It's an early preseason game. It's not even just bad football because it's the first preseason game. It's the first preseason game that normally they don't even play, right? So, yeah, the kinks aren't worked out yet. You accept the fact that, there's going to be not only mental errors as they learn the new offense, there's just going to be communication issues and things of that nature. It happens. I don't know whether I think it's on Rudolph. I don't know whether I think it's on Claypool. I don't know whether I care at this point.
That's the biggest thing. You'll forget about it next week.
Yeah, it's even if that turns around and the Cowboys score a touchdown off of it, do I really care? I don't know. It's a preseason game. I don't care that much. I just want to see whether they look adequate at this point, right? Do they look like they're starting to make some moves? And that's what I said. Highsmith makes me happy. Najee makes me happy. The layout catch by Claypool and some of the other catches make me happy. The miss doesn't make me happy. The drop, the handsies one. But
the handsies.
And especially because it isn't just handsies. That was the I'm about to get popped. Let me have the alligator arms bit because I got to protect myself, which I sort of get in preseason. The last thing you need to do is get clocked in preseason, right? But
protect the football.
But I don't want that to carry over into the season. So there are things to take away. I'm saving my favorite part of the game for the very end of this because there's just a part that it was definitely the most entertaining and I was the most excited about watching it. And that's just weird. When I talk about it, you'll understand. But I'm not going to do it yet.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fine. Well, I have a feeling it has to deal with the we didn't get to see this guy on the first Steelers drive.
The BFP.
That's
and
what
it's
it is. Sad that I already know what those letters spell out.
Yes.
Those letters spell out big fat punter.
Yeah, baby. The big fat punter. I love it.
It's absolutely incredible that he stole the spotlight. Almost Mr. Irrelevant pick. We'll get to that in a little bit here. I don't think I'm going to belabor through every series, but it was nice to see Najee Harris go through and gain a first down on the ground.
Yeah, sweet.
Let's see. I'm trying to look up some stuff here. Let
me say this. I do want to slow a little bit of the hype.
Yeah.
I read an article this morning. Najee Harris will definitely be the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year based on his. What the hell game did you watch? Did he look good? He looked okay. He looked fine. Did he look like, oh my God, no one will ever stop him? It's amazing the things he can do. No, come on. He barely played, 3 drives?
Yeah. Seven attempts, 22 yards. He had a long
hype
6.
Train a little bit. Jiminy Christmas.
I mean, did he catch a pass? Yeah, he had one pass for 3 yards. There was a lot of checkdowns.
Yeah.
More or less. I'm trying to get there. We had the Highsmith spin, sack. I don't know what this tackle from the Cowboys, where he is on the depth chart. He's obviously not a starter, and Highsmith's more of a starting guy, but he beat him like a rag doll, which is what he's supposed to do. So that's always encouraging to see. I'm not going to make a whole lot of deal. Like I said, Pierre may be getting picked on a little bit there. It looked like Miles Killebrew was flying around the field and with purpose and trying to earn his spot. I think we saw – I think there might be – do we have snap counts yet? No, there's no snap counts yet. And who knows if they'll even log them.
3.
Let me tell you, the kiss of death is when you're sharing a number with Anthony McFarland or Jalen Samuels, but on the defense.
Yes, that's kind of a good sign.
Never a good sign. Sorry. And and I noticed too, and I was ignorant of this heading into the game. Was 50 reissued? Jamar Watson was wearing 50 out there late in the game, and I'm like, whoa! I'm like, that was kind of interesting too. Something to just bring up as an observation. So, let's see here. I was actually looking to see if they got rid of the Jerome part. On Wikipedia that was incorrect. The Najee Jerome Harris. So, and I'm going to alternate between Najee and Najee, and probably
until everybody loses their mind.
Yeah, until everyone exactly everyone loses their mind. What was I going to say? Najee Harris. Najee Harris. I can't stop with this. It's been too long, Brian. I'm out of sync with myself. It's a fumble at the snap here trying to segue. But yeah, 7 for 22. He was the leading rusher in the game, so I guess that's something to be excited about. He does look like a load. What is he up to? They said 240 or something now. I got to look that up as well. You never know. It's never listed the way it should ever be. And... Right. It's just it was exciting. You're exciting to see the rookie. They still have him listed at 230. I thought somebody said he put on even more mass, which is I don't want him to be slow or anything. But defensively, anyways, the Steelers, it is what it is. A lot of third string, backup and third string type guys in there with a mix of starters. Highsmith does what he needs to do. That puts the Cowboys into a 3rd and 11 at the Steelers 11. And then an incomplete pass, the breakup by Trey Norwood, which was really cool. He got one of those cool sideline camera angles that kind of swirls around. I think that's the only time we saw it for the game. Thank God we didn't have the sky cam or whatever the heck that was from a few years ago, and you really don't know what's going on. Steelers get the ball back. Mason Rudolph completes a pass for 12 yards to Deontay Johnson. That was pretty nice. DJ got in there. Probably.
Didn't drop any. Didn't drop any.
Didn't drop
any. It's a good sign. Didn't drop any.
Hey, they ride Najee a few times here too. 5 yards, 6 yards, get another first down. This is something totally foreign. And you're like, okay, this is going to be happening because it's a preseason game. Rudolph finds Chase Claypool, nice little out route for 6 yards. I think it was in that. He found it at some point. There was the one on 3rd and 3 here, though, where it goes right through his hands. The aforementioned. We finally get to see Presley Harvin the third.
The third.
What'd you call him? BFP?
The BFP. Big fat punter. I love it.
Man.
It's got it. I need a new GIF. I got my GAM GIF. I need a new GIF. I need the BFP GIF.
This had some hang time, man, for only being 35 yards. And this guy from the Cowboys, it was like, put your hand up, dude. Fair catch it, please. I'm just thinking this is going to drop in the basket somewhere. So it didn't. I guess he got credited for a 1-yard return. He got tackled forward or something.
Right.
Cowboys, they operate a little bit. Cedric Wilson still hanging around here all around the league. Let's see. He's like, what, 5th on the Cowboys depth chart. James Pierre is involved here. Chris Wormley's involved here. I don't know. Some people were saying some stuff about Wormley. There's a gentleman who wears 65 that plays later in the game. And I got to look him up again because he was no, it's not Dan Moore. Who was it? Watch. He's Abdullah Anderson. And somebody that looked like they had a motor and a half on them that might be practiced. It really opened my eyes. And I think he got to Ben DiNucci at some point. Boy, I feel bad for him. I don't know that he's got much of a career left in the NFL. He just, man, talk about, there's a huge difference between trying to say, well, Mason stares into space versus what Ben DiNucci was doing. You know, Gilbert looked serviceable as a backup. That's all the more you could ask from these guys. I'll talk a little bit about Haskins, too. It's nothing to really rag on Haskins. And one of the comments that came from someone, I think Kevin Colbert said he should have stayed at Ohio State one more year. But he got drafted where he got drafted. You know, the money talks getting drafted were, 14th or whatever, 17th by Washington a couple of years ago. We're both Buckeye guys, Brian.
Yep.
But I think because I have to say this and I have to tiptoe around the way it's said specifically, but because he's African-American, I think some people think that he's immediately Deshaun Watson or even Justin Fields as far as running around. Even at Ohio State, he wasn't Justin Fields or his predecessor, J.T. Barrett. He was more Cardale Jones in the pocket type passer. So you're not getting much more mobility. I understand he scrambled and took the short little slide. We'll see. It was probably for like 5 yards or something. But that's about the end of it. You know what I mean? He's not a Lamar Jackson or somebody like that.
No.
Does he have some zip on the ball? Sure as hell does. So I'm not rooting against them either. I don't want anybody to think, well, what are you seeing with these guys? I just think right at this point in this stage of the game, they're both backups and they both offer some different things here. I can't say for sure what I saw in this game. It looked like Rudolph was trying to take some shots downfield, and he did. Some shorter passes here or there. Haskins was checking down a lot, and that could have just been the personnel he had in the game. Maybe even some of the protection, even though a lot of these linemen played quite a few snaps. So I don't really have...
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
Best quarterback on the field last night?
I don't have one.
Josh Dobbs.
Nah.
Josh Dobbs.
See, I have...
Good. Dobbs looked good. I'm just telling you. Josh Dobbs last night reminded me of Josh Dobbs when he beat out Landry for the backup role. He looked sharp.
Here's my issue with that.
He'll look like crap again next week. But
that's why. That's why, because instead of playing 6th and 7th stringers, he's going to have to play 3rd and 4th stringers, and it's going to be a little bit different with the experience he has in the NFL and even the few snaps he's taken regular season. But the amount of time he's been with the roster, practice, preseason games, he should look good. I
just want to start a controversy. Josh Dobbs.
Well, the quarterbacks, Rudolph goes 6 and 9 for 84. Nice. Not the 84. The 6 and 9.
I know.
96.5 rating. Haskins 8 of 13 for 54, 70.7. Let's see. And Dobbs 4 of 6 for 37. Not quite much a chunk of change there. He had the touchdown. That bumps him to 122. He didn't, I thought for sure, now on the 4th down toward the end of the game where they went for it and he doesn't end up connecting and they turn over on downs, he might as well go for it there. He kind of reverted back to the I'm seeing shadows and I'm going to run the ball, and now I'm going to stop running the ball and just throw it into the ether. And that looked more like old Josh Dobbs versus what I saw leading up to that point. So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to talk more about the quarterbacks. I hate going through the entire drives here because they end in some pretty
big fat punter. That's what they end in, the big fat punter.
Well, that is what I'm looking for here. We already had the 35-yard punt. We have the next drive. The Cowboys get down to the 10, and Gilbert gets sacked. Cassius Marsh strip sack, which, hey, he was getting mobbed there. There was a few guys that had a meeting of the minds. Yeah. The field goal, I guess, does get blocked by Trey Norwood here. It's what an ugly ball. You're like, what the heck is that? I think we could have had a better showing. I think BFP could have had a better showing if he was kicking the field goals.
Absolutely, man. That guy was not going to be on the roster next week.
Yeah. The next drive is where Rudolph connects with Chase Claypool finally. 45 yards, the big play. Looked like they were trying to do something downfield. I think that's also something that's very important to point out. A lot of this isn't necessarily, it's game situation, but let's see what this guy can do. So it's not necessarily, I don't know you're going to always do that in the regular season. Let's see what this guy can do.
Right.
You're going to do what to win. The wins losses doesn't matter here. You're going to try and see, can these guys go downfield? Can Claypool get this downfield? Can we do this little end around play that ends up in a fumble? Those are the type of things there that they're working on specific things. That's why the people who track statistics in these camp practices drive me insane, because there may be a series where we want to target James Washington. We want to target Chase Claypool. We want to see what these guys are doing. And that's not necessarily always on the quarterback. The quarterback is forcing a ball that they might not otherwise. And that's something that's always taken out of consideration when we're tracking stats for this. Claypool gets banged up on this. I guess he was around on the sideline dancing or smiling or whatever, so maybe he just knocked the wind out of himself. Who knows? We're busy talking to Gold Jackets and soon-to-be Gold Jackets to even know. There was no reports on the sideline. Najee Harris lost some yards right after this, kind of put them in a tough spot. Couldn't really get out of this. Rudolph throws the ball behind James Washington. You get the 49-yard field goal attempt by Sam Sloman. No good. People were ragging on that, and it's like, there's people who miss shorter field goals than that, so it's like, whatever.
There are people who thought that was Chris Boswell.
Oh, my God, yes. They don't even know. That's a very good point, and I did
They were like, our kicker has gone crazy. He's terrible now. What happened? It's not our kicker, dude. Just
cut
chill.
the bum. Cut the bum. We got to see some Anthony McFarland finally on the next series. Dwayne Haskins comes in. He finds Ray McLeod right out the gate. It looked a little more decisive earlier, and then it seemed like he was holding the ball. But really, did any of the quarterbacks for the Steelers get sacked last night? That's got to be a little concerning if you're a Cowboys fan, even with the depth, and you're matching up some of the backups. Get a couple of passes. This is where Haskins missed Washington as well. Right after that, tries to catch Zach Gentry too. There was a pass somewhere in this whole mix and sea of things that Kevin Rader caught a nice ball, and I was like, woohoo! Let's get a mention of Youngstown State here. And they called him, I guess, the tight end 4 on this depth chart. I still think he has a pretty solid shot of making the roster. I thought he played well. I thought Gentry played a lot better than I expected. He looks like he's finally what we thought he might have been a few years ago when he was drafted. So I think that's worth saying. Isaiah Buggs on this next series gets a penalty. Getting penalized in these type of games, especially roughing the passer, that was really late. I don't really complain. I guess we haven't complained about the referees for a long time, and it's coming back. And we're going to circle to that. Brian, you got the news yesterday, right?
I got that.
We did it.
He's out. He's out.
For those who don't know, Al Riveron no longer. He steps aside as the head of officiating. Now they have 2 guys that are going to be up there in the booth, and it's like, oh, great. 2. Charlie Weiss said instead of 1 guy, you got 2 to yell at now.
Two people that won't know what the hell they're doing. Because even though Al Riveron is gone, you know what I know for sure?
The refs stink?
The refs stink.
I would upgrade that almost. Is it couth to say the refs suck?
I'm okay with it. I'm not changing the meme, but I'm okay with it.
It's too much work.
It's too much work. But the refs, yeah, They stink a lot, but yes, they suck.
We're now into the third quarter, finally. For the 2%ers that are still paying attention to preseason football. But this is the Dwayne Haskins, a little bit of Anthony McFarland. He gets this is the Kevin Rader 15-yard catch. They start just moving here, the ball. McFarland picks up a chunk of 9. Kalen Ballage comes in, and this
solid run for that kid.
Yeah, I got to come back to Sexton on the 36-yard return, set up nice field position for Haskins and company here, and they finally get it. So a lot of people were complaining there were no points scored in the first half. Like, they had the full field to go. I mean, did you watch the Steelers during the regular season last year? I mean, that might be concerning, but at least they capitalized on the short field position here. They didn't necessarily get it, but the Cassius Marsh one was pretty deep. That strip sack was real deep. It was like on their own 10 or something like that. So it was like they still had 90 yards to go on that. Won't necessarily fault it. They're still going to call plays within the realm of some – without giving away the ace up your sleeve, you know what I mean? They're going to call it within the realm of plausibility there, not give everything, not put things on tape. Let's see. Yeah. Justin Lane, pass interference. That was ugly.
That was the appropriate and technical term for that is fugly.
Oh, yeah. That was bad. I don't know what was going on with that. And this is where you talk about depth chart. And we brought this up at the beginning of the show. And you look and see where some names are named within this whole, spectrum of first, second, third, etc. I thought I saw a lot of Isaiah Loudermilk out there for the most part, and he's big. He's big boy, man. I thought he looked. I'm not gonna say impressive because I didn't have my eye on him the whole time. He came and watched him the whole time. We'll see if we get some coaches film or something like that. Quincy Roach. Mm-hmm. We figured that one out.
My brother from another mother.
Brother from another mother. He looked like a clone of Bud Dupree out there at one point. Let's see. No Melvin Ingram. Justin Lane is listed as the primary backup to Joe Hayden, but he was not starting out the gate there. In fact, you had James Pierre. Maybe that was part of it too. Cam Sutton. They don't move around. Hayden is strictly left corner, and Cam will be the right corner. But you had James Pierre. Maybe he's the chief backup for both of them. They just have to fill in some slots, something that we have to talk about there too. Let's see. I'm going to keep going here, see if I can find anything else. We get some points. A kick is made after a Donovan Stiver interception. He moved up and got that ball. He took it. We'll call it what it is. I won't even say it's lucky, but again, I don't know. Danucci's just trying to throw it into a sea of people, which wasn't exactly the wise decision on his part. Haskins, McFarland, Ballage, you see a lot of this. A lot of people were really you were talking about this with Harris. How about with Ballage? We didn't really single out running backs. And Jalen Samuels was like buried deep into this game with 11 carries for 20 yards during the whole Dobbs thing, which we knew Dobbs was going to be the QB4. Ballage carries the ball 5 times for 19 yards. He gets the touchdown. Yeah. It was nice. He punched it in.
That was a nice run. Nice run.
But, man, I'll tell you, everybody all of a sudden ascended to Benny Snell's gone, maybe Samuel's cut. I think we need to pump our brakes on that off of one preseason game.
Ooh, I'm not going to back off of the Samuels one because I think he's got an uphill battle to stay on this roster.
Yeah.
But Benny Snell, come on. I mean, maybe he will be. Maybe he will be outperformed by some of these other guys. They got a lot of running backs on this roster right now, and they can't all stay. So,
No, they can't. There's going to be an odd man out somewhere. I mean, Trey Edmonds is still hanging around here too. But when you're talking about guys like Ballage, Edmonds, Dobbs, even though maybe the NFL experience hasn't been a plethora of experience. They're preseason and being around training camps and everything like that. They're veterans in these situations and should perform the way that they did. So at least Ballage went up or answered the call, I should say. McFarland's still a second-year player. Najee is a rookie. You're going to expect to see some hiccups there. When you get some of these guys in like Samuel should be bruising people. He got tripped by his shoelaces. I thought he was going in. Mr. Touchdown, as I like to call him. A lot of people got a lot of targets. A lot of the ball was spreading around. it's I don't know. I don't even want to go maybe necessarily into all of these. I don't even know how many guys caught a pass last night. It looks like 20 of them. So let me see what else. Do we got anything else that we can pick out from the second half? Because I'm telling you, you start to snooze, and even the announcers admitted to as much. Or like, we got way off track. I think they got off track in the second quarter with Peyton Manning in the booth. It was kind of funny. There was a fumble. Pass complete to what's Johnson's first name? The other wide receiver, the not Deontay. Trying to find Anthony. I thought that was correct. Boy, I tell you, the rust, man, got to get it off. There wasn't a whole lot that. Let me see. We had a Presley Harvin punt that goes out of bounds, 51 yards. There wasn't a whole lot that was going on this whole second half. Dobbs does orchestrate a touchdown drive with a short pass to Simmons for 5 yards. I'm going to try and see what else we got here. Yeah, Jalen Samuels, 2-yard chunk, loses a yard here, 4 yards there. It's kind of like, okay, this is getting like the really vanilla stuff. Nice wander for the Cowboys as a 57-yard punt. And then the next series is a 3-and-out. No gain by Samuels, 1 yard by Samuels. Short pass to Samuels for 5 yards. Got to do better than that. They're not. I mean, got to do better than that. So that's the reason there. Benny Snell has been hurt. He's, I guess, not practicing. So how do you even say anything about a guy that's hurt? He could even be injured reserve, maybe candidate, and then you keep all these guys too, and that opens up a spot. That's always something because we don't know the seriousness. They don't report these things. They're tight-lipped on it right now, so we don't know until we know. I guess Dobbs was technically he was sacked here. I forgot about this one. Just for a yard, fumbled the ball out of bounds. I guess that's what it technically goes down as a sack. So I guess Cowboys did get one in there. Samuels for 5, Samuels for 4, Samuels for no gain, 3rd and 1, and then this was the incomplete short pass to Kevin Rader before the Cowboys end the game. But before we got all of that 3-and-out going back, this is your moment for Presley Harvin and the muffed punt.
Yeah. I mean, there you go.
How much more can you ask for?
What could the guy pins? What he drops like 3 punts inside the 20. He gets a punt that causes a turnover. He's just a big fat punter. I don't need more. This is like I now know who my camp phenom is. And I don't know how you can call him a phenom because he was a draft pick, but it's Presley Harvin III, the big fat punter.
Hey, when he dropped that ball right on when the ball took the bounce and just died at like the 1.
Oh my God, what a punt.
I tweeted, I said, well, there's the end of that camp battle. Like we haven't seen that. I don't know if I've seen that in my lifetime as a Steelers fan. And this guy, it's just amazing. It's just one game. We talk about getting hyped on preseason, but it is, special teams is special teams. It doesn't, we talk about backups and we talk about the guy with the Cowboys just shanking kicks all over and how that doesn't necessarily matter. But at the same time, looking at the punter, it really was something to get excited about. And, punters are people too, as they say. And Pat McAfee was on top of that right away. The very first punt, which is funny because it's like they show you the view from behind Harvin, and you get to see his whole behind, and you're like, this guy is blocking out the sun. Man.
Why are you looking at Presley Harvin III's behind? Stop looking at his behind.
He's a beautiful man. It's just. How much everybody wanted to give him the MVP. It's like he plays the whole game, so he has a lot more to show than any of the quarterbacks, any of the running backs, and all these guys that caught a pass. It really was the thing that stood out, as silly as it sounds. It's like just induct him into the Hall of Fame right now. He's already right there. What's one more?
It's Ray Guy. He's Ray Guy after eating 16 Big Macs. That's what he is. A big fat punter, and I love it.
Any other thoughts on the game? I don't know. I guess when some people say hesitancy with Mason Rudolph, I see the bias too, the bias lens, because I saw some of it with Haskins too. I really think some of it is just a matter of who's on the field, the personnel at the time, if things are still clicking. Remember, Claypool's still a second-year player, too. He's still ironing out some of these things. That's why he was playing. I don't hold anything against him, really. Okay, you drop a pass. People are going to drop passes. As long as it doesn't become the routine thing it did last season, we'll be okay. I'm looking forward to soon, hopefully, seeing Pat Freiermuth out there, because I just, everything I've heard is he's a beast. And it really looks like this draft class is and last year's too, because you're talking about Claypool, Highsmith. It looks like this is going to be a nice foundation for the Steelers going forward. You're talking about Harris and Dan Moore and Green. We didn't even say a whole lot about Green. Wasn't much, because there wasn't much to say. If you're watching, you got to see what you wanted to see. These guys were both getting downfield. They had a little screen or dump off pass. I forget who it went to. Maybe it was McLeod, or maybe it was Najee. But Dan Moore was out in front of it. It's like, man, you never know. This guy could be on the field this year too. We really don't know. Andrews or one of these guys doesn't get a core 4, or Banner doesn't get up to snuff. We really don't know. And they've talked about the Steelers really went after guys that had a lot of college experience and a lot of pedigree and stood out with the teams that they were on. And so far I'm impressed. We do still have to pull back and say this was the Hall of Fame game. Everybody was playing against people of an equal billing right now. But for the few stars that shined, they shined bright enough. There was a lot of things to like in this game if you knew where you were looking. And to boot, the Steelers even win it. So none of the casual couch fans who tuned in for, in between getting beer runs to the fridge can't even complain about the score.
Yeah, I agree. So let me. I don't know if you're aware. I don't know if I've made it clear my take on Mason Rudolph. I don't know if I've been very vocal about the fact that I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. I will tell you this: I wasn't upset with anything I saw from Mason Rudolph yesterday. He was completely adequate and fit exactly what I expect out of Mason Rudolph. So fine. Did I see anything from the other two quarterbacks? I know we said we weren't going to talk about him anymore. No, I didn't. Wayne Haskins didn't blow me away. He did fine. Josh Dobbs didn't blow me away. He did fine. He should have actually blown me away more than he did because he was playing against fourth stringers and he's had starting experience and backup experience in the NFL, been around long enough that he should be making those guys look silly. Anyway, be that as it said, Mason Rudolph was fine. It was fine. It is what it is. I do not believe he's the future of the team. I do not believe he's a long-term starting quarterback in the league. But for what I believe he should be, he was fine.
And that's a completely fair assessment. You took the words out of my mouth for a lot of that. It's like, could he be the future? I think I didn't get to see. There was someone on social media challenges. Steelers haven't had a good backup quarterback in a very long time. And I wanted to ask, who do you think was a good backup quarterback? And I think half of the listening audience is going to go and chime in, Charlie Batch. And it's like,
he wasn't.
Pump the brakes, man. It's the 2008, Super Bowl defense and everything like that. And a lot of that carrying over within a few years, give or take either direction on that calendar. Charlie Batch was very much a middle-of-the-road type guy, and they did not rely on him to throw the ball an awful lot because when that happened, you had the game like in Cleveland where the team turns the ball over 7 times that one year, I think in 2012, and that was a Charlie Batch game. Then you have the game where they beat the Ravens. He gets them in the field goal range. Sean Swisham kick and win that game, right? If I remember correctly. I had the flu that day. It was just miserable, but I remember Charlie made my day after having a very miserable game just a week earlier. But you go back and look at his stats. You go back, Landry Jones, who a lot of people absolutely trashed and hated. You look at Michael Vick. All of these numbers, Byron Leftwich, maybe you may have an argument there that he was one of the better ones, but he also had trouble staying healthy sometimes too.
Yes, he did. By the time we got him, yes.
Yeah, so that kind of puts a little stain on the entire argument there. Just somebody else stole one of our lines. I won't say stole because it might just be coincidental, but they said, hey, there aren't even 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. That's the reason why the top 3-4 picks all go quarterback this year. And of those guys, we don't even know if any of them are going to stick. Trey Lance with the 49ers. I mean, they're putting a lot of eggs in the basket there. He could be.
Hey, what the hell's going on with Joe Burrow?
Oh my goodness, yeah, I hear some really weird reports, and I didn't look to see. They did. I was out of town. The Bengals had a fan deal there, and since I'm actually closer to them now than anybody else, I really was thinking about just going down there and checking it out and giving a report, eyewitness report on Burrow and seeing it with my own eyes, because I found it hard to believe. I have not been anti-Joe Burrow. I thought last year he played very well for being especially a rookie, even compared to Baker Mayfield. I think Baker's weaknesses are hidden a lot with what the Browns do. He fits into a system, and don't count on him to do A, B, and C. We'll do D, E, and F kind of deal. You know what I mean? But I really thought Burrow coming out was a guy that's like, we don't really have to hide a whole lot. Maybe they bring him along a little more slowly, but he's got all of those stud wide receivers, and from all indications, it sounds like everything is awful, particularly because of the offensive line down there. Whereas everyone's trashing the Steelers, everyone's kind of sleeping on the Steelers. We take a look at what they did, even with a ton of backups with the line, and it looks pretty promising. I can't wait. I want to be able to see. We need to get Dotson out there for sure. Even if he doesn't, though, Finney's more than capable of playing left guard, but I thought Dotson was more of a road grader last year. We're going to find out what the tackle situation is. Green looks promising so far. Need to know if Trey Turner is a Pro Bowl caliber player that he once was, a season removed from being a five consecutive season Pro Bowl guard.
I want to see Melvin Ingram. I want to see what Melvin Ingram looks like.
Yeah, that's an interesting case, too, because a lot of people think, well, they signed him. Is he going to sit on the bench? And I think he's going to get a lot of snaps. He's going to come in on either side. They might throw all three of them on the field with Watt and Highsmith, too. They might do something like that. It's possible. They may have some special packages where they utilize him. He came to play. He'll get some playing time. He's up there in age, mid-30s or so. So he might get a little more preserved. I don't know. You want to rely on him being a 17-game starter.
No, not at all.
Oh, and preseason-wise, Brian, we're down to 3. The Steelers happen to have 4. They got rid of the 4th. We mentioned it earlier, and I think we both slipped and said that we're used to a 4-game schedule. Yeah. But the Steelers and Cowboys still have one more than everyone else. But anyways, a lot of things to look forward to coming up. I guess I'm going to report, check in on Steel City Underground and my personal Twitter accounts. We'll see how many updates I get from the Hall of Fame ceremonies this weekend. Whole lot of stuff going on. The GOAT's going in.
The only saving grace about the fact that I can't go, because I was supposed to be there with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we know this, and I can't go. The only saving grace is that I guess Troy's not actually going to be there. So
we're trying to figure that out. If he's, for those who aren't aware, tested positive for COVID, I believe. He announced it on his social media. You can go look at all that probably a week or so ago. But there was some indication they're going to try and do as much as they can to get him there, and rightfully so. This is
absolutely
just the way everything has gone down in the last year. You hope they could all be there, and we'll see. I don't know if that's like the 10-day window. I don't know. NFL was using like a 10-day window. There's like a 14-day window. There's so much stuff out there anymore. My head spins. I don't know how to take it. I just kind of I see it, and I'm like, I hope he's there. I'm going to be supporting my guy. He's been my guy forever.
Hope he's there.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to hear his speech. I'm assuming it'll get broadcast one way or the other.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
But doing it by video is just that's not going to be the same. It's not. No. Can we do a hologram like Star Wars and just
sounds fun. I'm in. I'm up for that.
Darth Polamalu.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty
Bill
cool.
Cowher, you are.
Bill Cowher is the emperor in this case.
Yes.
He's good.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, Brian, thanks, man.
Right.
It's been forever since me and you have gotten on the horn. Been forever since we've had a show. We've actually had some football to talk about. We'll have football to talk about hopefully all the way through February now. So
absolutely
won't be a problem. And I'm going to check out some training camp myself, give some eyewitness reports, and see if some of the stuff you see on Twitter is baloney, because I love when you see like 3 people tweet out something and they all have different opinions like they did last night. And it's just kind of like, I do profess to never being wrong and always being right. But
that's you can't be, because I'm always right. And since you don't always agree with me,
That's
you are
true.
therefore sometimes wrong.
It just means you're wrong. It just means you're wrong.
Incorrect.
But
Incorrect.
my point was just follow some of the beat reporters, and specifically so it's kind of like the beat guys. You get like the Jim Wexels of the world, the Ed Bouchettes, who've been doing this for a very long time. They're prohibited from reporting certain things.
Yeah.
So because of that, you're not going to hear so-and-so went 6 of 12 for whatever and threw an interception, or this person's in like this bunch formation or whatever. It's like the Steelers really any team dislikes that. They don't want photography and video of their entire playbook broadcast to the world. You're lucky and fortunate to even be there. Like, is it cool to get a little bit of the secret sauce, the secret recipe displayed to us? Yeah, of course. But I also kind of take it tongue in cheek too with, depending on who is reporting the information. So keep that in mind.
Certain members of the Dutch Pennsylvania Mafia. Is that what you're talking
about? Absolutely. Brian, cheers, my friend. Let's do this again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and now you turn the label toward the camera. Are you supporting the sponsor? They're not a sponsor.
I know.
See, they're not technically either, but if it wasn't for the Steelers and everything that they do, we wouldn't be doing this. So we're very appreciative.
We'd have to find something else to talk about, and then probably no one would care.
No one would care. There's too many movie and video game podcasts already. So, all right, folks, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in and supporting us as always. And sorry for the delay, man. It's just vacation in the summer, the end of summer here. Kids going back to school here in 10 days. Oh, man.
Make it a saying. Make it a hashtag. BFP. Big Fat Punter. Hashtag BFP. Make it a thing.
Yeah, we'll see how well that goes over also. At least we're saying some names properly, hopefully, at some point. Roach, your brother from another mother. Kyle Kuzma just got traded from the Lakers, too. So that's my other brother from another mother. That's not really my brother.
That's that other sport that I don't care about.
At least he spells his name the same way. Yeah, I don't really follow hardcore either. That's why I do this. That's why everything's black and gold. So
absolutely.
My name's Joe. His name's Brian. Thank you, 2%ers. We'll catch you again soon. As we say all the time, I'm trying to remember what the line is to close out the show now. Be safe. There's something else. Be good. And we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.